Yo, what is good, y'all? Welcome to the first episode of the Flow podcast. I'm Miles Curry. I'm a photographer, entrepreneur, and sneakerhead. Yeah, this is just going to be the kind of just intro episode to everything. Going to just be talking about just some backstory about myself and how I got here, and then also just going to be talking about like what the podcast will entail and everything like that going forward. So, just a little bit about me. I'm a photographer, entrepreneur, and sneakerhead. I've been doing photography now for and been shooting now for about 5 years. And I got my start in the food photography space. I actually went to school for marketing, so didn't even think that I was going to be doing photography as like a full-time job or career or anything like that. But yeah, I ended up doing that. So I worked at a food photography studio for about 2.5 years. And that's kind of where I got all my bearings, teachings, and everything like that, because there's just certain things that I didn't know just from a technical side. And there's like, standard practices and stuff when it comes to just being on set and everything like that. So that was kind of like my school in a way, just learning there. And then I've been pretty much freelance now, working at different productions, different studios, and then also doing some client work as well for about a year and a half now. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but funny enough, like entrepreneurship has been something that I've always wanted to do, and I actually took a lot of entrepreneurship classes in college. So this kind of lined up already with what I wanted to do, but I think thinking about it from a creative standpoint, I wanted to have some capabilities of being creative while also being entrepreneurial. So the photography and the production stuff has kind of been that lane for me. So yeah, it's been a journey. I feel like I've learned so much in these past couple of years. So yeah, and coming with this podcast is like I've been wanting to do it for a while now. But it's just about figuring out like the right time. It's really just about timing. I feel like I have my hands full with a lot of different stuff, especially in like 2025. So, coming into the new year 2026, it's like, okay, let's try to get the ball rolling and everything like that. And just from a, networking and content perspective, there's so many people that I want to meet. I want to hear their stories. I want to, just kind of just learn from people and, just deepen relationships that I have and everything like that, while also, trying to get some content and stuff out of this as well. So yeah, and I'm also just a like avid podcast listener. I primarily taken a lot of like business, entrepreneurial podcasts, but now I'm dabbling into more sneaker podcasts and stuff like that. Just since I'm in the sneaker space now all the time, I'm just trying to, stay up to date with everything that's going on with that. And I'll get into that a little bit in terms of how I got into the sneaker space. But yeah, I've just been doing this for a little minute now, and I've been wanting to do it. And funny enough, like this kind of more from a clothing brand that it was originally, and now it's kind of morphing into a podcast. And it was something that I actually said like a long time ago, like, hey, this is what it's gonna morph into. And that was kind of like my first, I would say, go at entrepreneurship was having a clothing brand. It was called Flow Unlimited, and it was about people's journeys and just about like their everyday flow and how it can be applied to anybody in life and stuff like that. So kind of remixing that concept to turn it into the podcast it is. I probably will still sell merch and stuff like that, but like I won't it's not going to be like a a main pillar or anything like that. For me, it's just about really just getting to know more people and also just talking about, my interests and stuff like that as well. So yeah, it's been a journey. So just to go into how I've gotten into sneakers actually, because my sneaker stuff has just been, and if you follow me on social media and you know about the stuff I'm doing, like I've been doing sneaker photography now for close to 2 years. So it's been a journey, and it's been something that like I didn't really think about like it would be a full circle moment, until it happened or whatever. So like for me, I come from the basketball world. I played basketball all my life, and just naturally, sneakers are just a huge part of it. So I always collected just different sneakers. Mainly, I would say mainly Nike and Jordan. I had some Adidas shoes, but they were probably, since I'm from Chicago, I had a bunch of D Rose shoes growing up and stuff like that. Those were probably the only Adidas I would put on my feet at the time, because there was always the uh kind of like the stigma with Nike. It was always Nike versus Adidas, and yeah, Nike just was blowing them out the water with with basketball shoes specifically. So just grew up playing basketball and everything like that. So it was just naturally ingrained, and I feel like I come from like a unique era, and I know people probably remember the era too, but like I feel like I really gravitate towards this, and this is kind of how I look at sneakers now. Is Nike back then, I would say probably sixth, seventh grade, all the way through high school. Like those times were very kind of unique in the sense that I would, wear basketball shoes just regularly, casually, whether it be Kobe's, KD's, LeBron's. I would wear those all the time. So, it's just crazy because yes, people wore a lot of Jordans, and Jordans were just always kind of reigning supreme on like, well, it kind of really depended on what was coming out at the time, but I mean, during that time, all the classic Jordans were coming back out and stuff like that, so people were going crazy for them. But at the same time, you were kind of respected, at least in the basketball world. But I know with some of my friends who weren't in basketball, they were like, "Oh man, you got the new Kobe's from the Christmas pack, or you got the LeBrons from the All Star pack, or whatnot." And it was just such a big thing. And so it's just crazy that that's what it is. But I come from that, so I'm always looking at shoes in that way. And it hasn't been like that for a while. I feel like people are like, man, I got the Kobe's and I'm rocking them and stuff like that. And it might be just because I'm older now and I haven't seen like what the kids. I feel like the kids are wearing stuff like the Lamellos with the Pumas and stuff like that, with the crazy colors and everything like that. So it's a little bit different today. Yeah, that's where I come from. So I ended up blending my photography and sneaker stuff. I shot my first like sneaker, and it was funny enough, it's for a client, and it was the Air Jordan 4 military blue. And literally after I shot that shoe, I just been shooting shoes ever since. And funny enough, like I didn't have like a crazy interest in the food photography space. I like doing it. I like assisting and stuff like that, but just wasn't like the passion or interest that I wanted to go into. And I was like, okay, let me get into like some product photography stuff. I wanted to be able to do stuff at home. And then if I wanted to, you know, uh get out of the house and do some more lifestyle kind of stuff, and in a bigger studio space I can, but want to try to do some product stuff. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but once I shot that shoe, I was like, man, this might be my niche. And I think and i think something to keep in mind too is like I kind of went through the whole process of trying different things and trying to see what gravitates towards me as a creative. And the shoes just really spoke to me. And they really spoke to me because I already had like familiarity with it. And then being able to kind of build on it, through different layers, right? So like you have the shoe stuff, and then it's like, okay, why don't we add a hand or a foot in there, and then maybe we make it more lifestyle s where we can have a full model in there and creating a nice piece like that, and then eventually just like build up from there. So then it turns into athleisure, sports, and all that stuff as well. So that's kind of the space that I'm in right now. And yeah, it's been pretty dope, if I'm being honest. Like it's just crazy. And now I'm kind of getting reacquainted with this with the sneaker community and everything like that. So just following different people on social media who are sneaker content creators and stuff. And it's just crazy because I in college I took a break from just sneakers. Like when I was hooping, I would get like some hoop shoes and stuff like that, but I wasn't going out and really paying attention to the latest and greatest releases and everything like that. Like I was so focused on basketball at the time. So yeah, like me shooting sneakers and stuff has really like reignited like my passion and love for sneakers. So now I'm like in the process of rebuilding my collection and kind of just exploring the sneaker space now. And it's really interesting because there's so many different brands now, especially when it comes to like the independent space. Um, Guys like John Geiger, Saya Collective, there's Dybbuk New York. There's a couple brands that I've come across where I'm like, man, like their shoes are really dope. Like I want to wear them, and they have their own unique style to them and stuff like that, and it's really cool to see, and to see the process of some of these brands. A lot of these brands starting off as people who were just customizing Nikes and Jordans, and then all of a sudden they were like, you know what, let me make my own shoe, and then to see these brands where they're at now is kind of crazy. And some of these brands, like especially like John Geiger, Saya Collective, like I saw them a couple years ago, but I just didn't like keep tabs on them like I do now. So it's super interesting to see the space now with that stuff. And then also now it's like, man, I got to start getting some other shoes because I'm just coming. I came from a space where like it was just like Nike, Jordans. Like I had some New Balances growing up, some Converse. I didn't have any Asics or Sauconys or anything like that. So I had some Adidas too, like with the Yeezy era and all that stuff. But I mainly had Nikes and Jordans for the most part. I actually had some Reeboks when I was younger too, but mainly just Nike and Jordans. But man, like 2025 was such a like I feel like it was like an eye-opening year for me personally because I'm like, man, all these shoes that are coming out, and Nike and Jordan are already, you know, they're the big dogs in the sneaker space, and they're pumping out different colorways, crazy silhouettes and stuff like that. But it was just interesting to see, different people covering like a Saucony or, Asics, and the trend of like the casual runner and the different silhouettes that come from that. And it's really nice to see. And New Balance too. New Balance is doing some pretty cool things too. The thing is, man, I can't get every shoe. I'm gonna try to get like different. I'm gonna try to like dabble in different brands and stuff like that. Naturally for me, I'm gonna still get my Nikes and Jordans and stuff, especially since now man, they're retro and stuff like the KDs and stuff like that. And again, like they're retro. Like in 2025, they came out with KD4s. I was never able to get KD4s as a shorty. Just like, and at the time, the KD4s, like if you had the KD4s, you were it. Like those are sweet. People wearing them with like cargos, jeans, and all that. It was like, man, those are dope. So I ended up getting me like 3 or 4 pair last year, and it was all colorways that I just never had, like the Nurse, the scoring titles, Aunt Pearls, and stuff like that. So when stuff like that comes, I'm like, man, I gotta grab it just off nostalgia and stuff like that. Um, but I will say, like, I do wear my shoes, so I will wear them. It's cold out here in Chicago right now, so I'm not busting out any really good shoes at the moment. But yeah, so like there's just so many different brands now. So the possibilities of just exploring these brands are endless, and I'm super excited and super pumped to just see these different color because some of these colorways are super sweet. The materials they're using are nice and everything like that. And you have brands kind of reemerging now, like Converse having, Shea with the 001s, and them having like a signature athlete as, with a basketball sneaker is pretty crazy. Um, then you have brands like Reebok who are like slowly coming back. They got Angel Reese, they got Modest Buzelis, they got a couple other hoopers on their squad that are doing some good things. And I like what they're doing, especially in the basketball space. I like the basketball shoes and what they're doing with that. And they're starting to come out with some lifestyle shoes. I've seen like a kind of runner type shoe that's pretty sweet. Man, exploring these different brands, like I want to do that. I want to keep that up. Yeah, it's crazy. So that's where like that's where I've come to kind of like full circle moment with just like basketball and sneakers, and then being able to blend it with my photography and being creative is just like, man, this is great. So just talking about this podcast is like, this podcast is for creatives, entrepreneurs, and sneakerheads. Like, I'm just going to be diving into all of those things. Um, Kind of talk about my journey a little bit as a creative, and, figuring out that space and stuff I'm learning and how I'm trying to get better at it and stuff like that. And then also just trying to talk to other entrepreneurs who are doing some really good things, who are inspiring, and want to get to know them and share them with you all. And then of course sneakerheads too, like try to get some sneakerheads on the podcast and other sneaker creators who are doing some cool things in the space. Yeah, just really just want to talk about people's stories and really just, learn and grow, not only myself, but grow with you all as well. So yeah, man, this is like the beginning of the podcast. I will say, like, the cadence of it, I'm not totally sure yet on what I'm gonna do on that front, but I want to say probably like once a month or something like that. Uh, but we're gonna see. I'm going to try to do something weekly, possibly. Um, but yeah, I just kind of want to just keep this thing consistent, keep it rolling and everything like that. That's really my main thing right now, especially when I'm starting something new like this. I kind of want to take it in baby steps and not try to go full out, because I still have like creative projects that I'm working on and client work that comes up, and then being booked at other studios and everything like that for assisting and all that stuff. So it's kind of a whirlwind of everything going on, but at the same time there is some structure and there is some balance to it that coming into 2026, I'm like, okay, like I've got time for this. So bear with me. I am going to try my best to put out as much stuff as I can, and I also will try to get, different guests on the podcast, so we could talk about their stories and stuff that they're interested in as well. And yeah, yeah, it's gonna be real cool. I'm real excited. Um, but yeah, so hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm Miles Curry. If you have any questions, or even if you want to be on the podcast, feel free to shoot me a DM. I'll have my socials and everything like that linked below. And this will be like a virtual video podcast. There will be some like some parts of it that will probably be like just audio only, just because I want to explore like some smaller like bit episodes, even if it's just like talking about a shoe or a signature athlete or something like that, just to give like my quick take on that. Because I know sometimes people don't have the time to consume like an hour long episode. They might only have, 5 or 10 minutes, and it might be a cool little quick bit that might be cool to get done with that. So we'll see. We'll see. But just appreciate all the love and support so far, just through my creative and photography journey. And if you're coming from that space, appreciate you. I appreciate anybody who's tuned into this episode and kind of learning more about me and the reason why I started this podcast. And yeah, I'm excited. We're about to it's gonna be a good year for sure. It's gonna be a good year for sure. Not only for me, but just in like sneakers and entrepreneurship and all that stuff. So yeah. It's your boy Miles Curry. Peace.